Hey everybody, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about quarantining chickens and practicing good biosecurity. So the reason why we need to quarantine our chickens, it's only really when you get a new flock. So if you don't have any existing chickens already, and you get a new flock of chickens, if they all come from the same area, you don't need a quarantine. Now, if you get your first flock of chickens and you get chickens from multiple different farms, it is so important that you quarantine them and that you practice good biosecurity. And that's just so if one of those chickens or multiple of those chickens from one particular area comes with the disease, you don't infect your entire flock. Also, if you have an existing flock and you get new chickens, it's so important to do your quarantining and biosecurity measures. And usually they say to quarantine for at least 30 days. I've quarantined up to like 2 months, and that was just me being a little bit paranoid and just making sure that my existing flock is completely safe and, you know, doesn't have that chance of being exposed to something. So just a little bit of background for those who don't know. Chickens do have some pretty scary diseases that they can transmit to each other. And the thing about chickens is they have a tendency of not showing that they're sick because they are so far down on the on the food chain. They do have a tendency of not showing that they're sick until they're literally like a couple hours away from dying. So you really have a hard time sometimes noticing when your chickens are sick, especially if you get new chickens and you don't know their behavior, you don't know how they normally act, and you don't really realize it. And there's some diseases that are super like recognizable right away. You can hear like chest rattling when they breathe. Their eyes will be swollen or pussy. There's a disease that causes their legs and their wings to go paralyzed. And a lot of those diseases, once your flock gets them, if they don't have an immunity to them, it will kill them. And there's been so many times where people will kill off their whole existing flock that they love and they've gotten so attached to because they've brought in 2 new chickens that they don't love and they don't care for, and they didn't do quarantining and they lost everything. So that's why it's so important to quarantine. If you go on any chicken keeping group anywhere on the internet, you will see that people tell you, please quarantine. You're risking everything by not quarantining. So, I could literally go on and on and on about it, the importance of it, why you should do it. But, you can go online and see hundreds and hundreds of people who've lost their flock because of this. So it is so important, and so that's what this whole video is about. I actually have a new member of my flock right now that I'm quarantining, so this is why I'm doing this video for you guys. And I'm going to show you guys the proper biosecurity measures that you need to take in order to not, expose your existing flock to anything. So the first thing you need to do when you get up to take care of your chickens is you need to take care of your existing flock first. Do not take care of the new chicken or chickens or flock, whatever you guys have new. Don't take care of them first. Take care of your existing flock. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to take care of them, make sure everything is good. I won't take you guys along with that because you guys know what I do. But I'm just going to make sure everything is good with them, take care of them, and then I'll check back in with you guys for the next step of the biosecurity. I also want to mention that if you're getting chicks that are young, that you're getting from like a hatchery, Tractor Supply, a feed and seed store, that it's not hello. It's not necessary that you quarantine. You do want to keep them obviously separate from your normal flock because they're young and they'll get picked on. But if they come from like a hatchery or a feed and seed store, they aren't exposed to any of those diseases that a big flock would be, exposed to. The only thing you have to be careful with is big chickens and just the dirt outside naturally has coccidiosis growing in the soil, and it's always there. So when you get new chicks, you do want to adjust them and get them kind of immune and getting used to the coccidiosis, because it's going to be in any soil that they come in contact with. So what I like to do is I like to get little Tupperwares or like a little cat box, and I fill it up with dirt from the inside of their forage area. So dirt that they're always standing on, they're pooping on, they're eating on, all that good stuff. And then I scoop it up and I put it in the cat box, and then I put it in the chick's cage. And that's going to allow the chicks to dust bathe and eat and, like, you know, get used to the soil without just being thrown into it and that being everything that they're exposed to. So what I mean by that is if you were just to put them in the soil outside, that's all they would have. They wouldn't have any area to be on that's not on the soil, and so their immune system would just kind of get put into shock mode, and they most likely will get sick from coccidiosis. So that's why you allow them to adjust to it kind of slowly and naturally by bringing the soil in. Also, you know, cutting off pieces of grass, letting them chew on that and stuff. All of that is going to help their bodies get immune and adjusted to the coccidiosis without making them sick. So that's what I like to do for chicks. And like I said, it's not really important that you quarantine your chicks because they don't have any diseases. Now, if your existing flock has some type of disease that you know of, I mean, I wouldn't suggest getting new flock. I wouldn't suggest getting any more chicks. That's my opinion. I would probably get rid of those chickens. I'd cull them and I'd start over again. That's my personal opinion. Everybody's different. Everybody has their own beliefs. But yeah, so if you know that your flock has a disease, I wouldn't get anything new because you're just gonna prolong that disease in your own flock. But for the most part, you know, your flock should be good to go, and so your chicks just need that time to adjust to whatever, you know, immunities that your flock has. So yeah, that is my little tidbit about chicks. Okay, so now I'm done taking care of my flock, and I'm going to go ahead and change my clothes. Normally, when you go from your existing flock to your new flock, you don't really have to change your clothes because your existing flock, you know, hopefully they don't have any diseases that, you know, I know my flock doesn't have diseases. So, but because I personally have like a set of clothes that I wear every week outside to take care of the chickens, that way I'm not, you know, just filling up the laundry full of clothes to take care of the chickens in. I just wear the same clothes every day for about a week, and then I'll put them in the laundry. So I'm going to take these clothes off, put them in my pile, and then I'm going to put in a different pair of clothes on. And I keep those clothes completely separate in a completely different room, so that there's no cross-contamination. And so it's important when you take care of one flock to another that you usually, when you go from your new flock to your old flock, you change your clothes, wash your hands. I mean, you literally do the whole 9 yards, because I mean, diseases can be carried from one chicken to another just on your fingers or on your shoes. It's so easy. So that's why it's so important to make sure that if you are taking care of your new flock before your old flock, that you definitely change your clothes, that you definitely make sure that you store your clothes in a completely different room than the clothes that you use for your existing flock, because that's just practicing good biosecurity. So I'm going to go ahead and change, and I'm going to take care of my other chickens. So this is my new chicken. I have her in this really large, like, parakeet bird cage. Normally we just keep them in a crate that's like the same size, but we just got this from my dad, so I just figured we'd put her in there. We just rescued this little girl. She is a Russian Orloff, and she actually came from a place where she's the only chicken, so really biosecurity isn't something that's super needed for when you take a chicken from like a place where there's just one chicken. There's not really a need, just because most of the time they don't have diseases. But I'm an extremely paranoid chicken mama, and I don't want there to be any chance that she's got something that she could give to my flock. So for the next probably 2 weeks to a month, she's going to be quarantined away from the flock. And you need to make sure your new chickens or wherever you get are at least like 200 yards away from your other chickens. So that's why she's inside, completely away, not even in the backyard. And so I'm going to take her out right now and put her in the front yard. And I'm going to let her forage and hang out for a little bit. Because obviously she's a chicken. She needs to go outside. She needs to forage. And thank God she's used to being alone. She came from a place where she's all by herself, because she really doesn't mind being in this cage. And she's a very sweet girl. So yes, this is kind of something you need to do. If you are getting new chickens, you just need to keep them far away from your existing flock, in some type of cage or whatever, so that you can monitor their health, monitor their droppings, and obviously keep them far away from your flock. So until she's ready to come out of here, we're going to keep her in here. And then what we're going to do is, when she's ready to go outside, we will put her in a pen next to the main area where all the other chickens are at. So for about 2 weeks to a month, she's going to get acquainted to the rest of the flock without being in the actual area with the rest of the flock. That way they don't pick on her and attack her, because that's just kind of what chickens do. They're very territorial, and they will pick on her if I just throw her in there. So yeah, that is that. And that is it for my quarantining / biosecurity information video all about chickens. I hope that you guys, found this video educational and that you learned something. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them down below. And go ahead and thumbs up this video if you did learn something and you did like this video. And of course, please subscribe if you have not already and you'd like to be. So I will see you guys in my next video. Take care, everybody.